Organization and management. The driving force behind every organization is its management team. The company or organization will not be successful without the management. There's no universal accurate management to define the one that is best. O and M is twin terms that exist side by side with each other. Each one needs and supports the other. What makes a good management and manager? In real world of administration, O and M are essential elements through which human actions and objectives are carried out and accomplished. So what makes a good management and manager? Is it through leadership? Is it through the behavior and attitude? Well, according to Vinit Nair, the job is to make sure everybody is enabled to do what they do well. So, in line of management, he does not see himself as the guy who has to do everything or have all the answers. Instead, he sees himself as the guy who is obsessed with enabling employees to create value rather than coming up with solution himself. He creates opportunities for collaboration, peer review, and employee feedback on ideas and work processes, while management is getting work done through the others. And then it's very important in management that you're not just following your leaders, but you really have also think of the good solutions for every problem or issues that you'll encounter. It's like before you go to your head or managers, you have to make sure that you prepared something as a solution. Well, in management, if there's no efficiency, there's no effectiveness, or these two should go together. Efficiency means getting work done with a minimum of effort, expense, or waste. With this, we also have the effectiveness because efficiency alone is not enough to ensure success. Managers must also strive for effectiveness, which is accomplishing tasks that help fulfill organizational objectives such as customer and satisfaction. According to Henry Fayol, one of the founders of the field of management, based on his 20 years of experience as CEO, Fayol agreed that the success of an enterprise generally depends much more on the administrative ability of its leaders than on their technical ability. Well, would you imagine running a book publishing company if you didn't read? Running a movie studio if you don't watch or maybe to go on the movies? Managers need to perform five managerial functions in order to be successful, according to Feo. We have planning, which is very important. This is a non-stop act or functions of every managers. Planning is the act of process of making a plan to achieve or do something to reach your visions or objectives in the company. We have organizing. We have this function. We won't be able to identify whom to follow or who's the right boss or managers to follow. And of course, there will be a sequence of tasks that will be in it. We have staffing. This is a process of hiring, positioning, and overseeing employees in organizations. So without the staffing, we won't be able to know how many employees we should hire, about the skills, the tests that we have to um, undergone before being part of the company. Of course, leading is one of the important part also. This is where we're going to test the managerial role of the boss. The leadership skills should be shown, and we have the controlling. This is setting standards, measure actual performance, and taking corrective actions. So once the manager should also have this function, the controlling. They are to identify what is the problem and what should be the solution or the actions to take, because there's no perfect organizations or management. It depends on how the staff and the bosses or the owners are being collaborated in such of things or tasks. Organizing organizations based on deciding where decisions will be made, who will do what the jobs and tasks, and who will work for whom in the company. We have two types of organizations because organizations consist of people who share common objectives and purpose. It uses knowledge and techniques to accomplish its goals. Well, according to Scott and Michael, as cited in 1989, formal organization are a system or coordinated activities of a group of people working cooperatively toward a common goal under authority and leadership. It is also known as bureaucracy. This is to carry out its function and perform its roles in the society. Then we also have the informal organization. Well, the term means how information flows from level to level within the company. We have the types of levels. Centralized. Decisions flow from top to bottom, or we have the authoritarian bosses. And we have decentralized. The decisions are made for various level or different levels. We provide a company with a visual representation of how it's shaped and how it can be best move forward in achieving its goals. So sometimes we have this um, democracy in the company. There are some there's like freedom of speech for the employees to decide to have a collaboration for some tasks that they're going to do. Of course, to achieve the company's goals or vision. We have the chain of command. Chain of command is more on the vertical line of authority that clarifies who reports to whom throughout the organizations. So as you can see, we have the top one, then the second level, third, and the fourth level. So as representation, we have our boss and the general manager, the president. Then we have the vice president. Maybe we have two departments, and then under that we have the staff or secretaries or maybe departmental heads like financial head, financial manager, operational manager, marketing manager, so those kinds. And we have the employees or the staff. So whom to follow? Of course, employees will report on the first level of authority. Then we have on the third one. Then if they cannot fix within the organization of these things or within the department, then that's the time we have to inform the higher up. But everything that we're going to plan in the organization, everything comes from the head, or if you plan or you want to advise something, then you have to inform all the members of organization. Line versus staff authority. Line authority is about the right of command immediate subordinates in the chain of command. We have staff authority, the right to advise but not command others who are not subordinates in the chain of command. So line of authority, basically we have the staff, the managers who are really have the right of command or to give task to the employees. Staff authority, they can just give advice, but the power is not that powerful. Line function, an activity that contributes directly to creating or selling the company's product. And we have the staff function, an activity that does not contribute directly to creating or selling the company's product, but instead support line activities. So, for example, um, the marketing department is not really a part of this type of job or task, but then they can just support. And for example, the financial department is not in line with this kind of project, but they can just support. So those are line function and staff function. Delegation of authority. Whom you will follow in the case of division of labor or task distribution. Well, delegation of authority is about the assignment of direct authority and responsibility to a subordinate to complete tasks for which that manager is normally responsible. So, for example, you are the manager and you have your staff, an employee, wherein you cannot do, it's not about you cannot do the task, but of course, it's about achieving or accomplishing a lot of tasks. So, in behalf of you, there's someone who will do the task. And that's the time you have to assign this thing to a very responsible person in the company. You should not just give this task to anyone that you want because you're close to him or her, but you've seen that there's much responsible she's much responsible than the others, or maybe you will know that task will be accomplished on time if you're going to give it to that secretary or staff in the company. Job specialization, a job composed of small part of a larger task or process. Job rotation, radically moving workers from one specialized job to another to give them more variety and the opportunity to use different skills. So, for example, in McDonald's, they have sometimes they have to be in the cashier area, sometimes they have to be in the floor area, or maybe in the delivery area. It is making these people experience different skills and, of course, develop or maybe enhance such skills. Job enlargement, increasing the number of different tasks that a worker performs within one particular job. Job enrichment, increasing the number of tasks in a particular job and giving workers the authority and control to make meaningful decisions about their work. Of course, sometimes we have enrichment like some training. We have rational decision making. We have to define a problem first if there's some issues. Identify decision criteria, of course, from your subordinates and from your staff. Weight the criteria, generate alternative courses of action, evaluate each alternative, and of course, you have to compute for the optimal decision. This is if whenever there's a problem or issues in the company, we have the formula to be used. It's not just easily planning and give the actions. Of course, you have to evaluate everything. Well, in human resource department process, this is the process of finding, developing, and keeping the right people to form a qualified workforce. It's very important in the company to get or gather skillful personnel. Human resource planning or HRP is the process of using an organization's goals and strategy to forecast its human resource needs in terms of attracting, developing, and keeping qualified workforce. Why is HRP important? Companies that do not use HRP or human resource planning or that do it poorly may end up with either a surplus of employees that has to be connected with layoffs or a shortage of employees that leads to increased overtime costs and an inability to meet demand for the company's product or the service. So it's really important to have a planning first before hiring those employees because sometimes employees will just lack in the skills or maybe they just don't want the environment after being hired, so they really have to be careful. So we have the process to be undergone: planning, recruiting, selection, training, performance appraisal, compensation, and employee separation. So how does the recruitment process work? It depends on the company and what methods the company uses to find applicants for employment. However, most large and some small employers have a formal process that is followed to recruit and hire new employees. Before hiring an applicant for a job position, a company goes through a step by step hiring process. This process has three key phases.